Hello, everyone. You are listening to People Innovate, the podcast for people. This is season 2, the all inclusive table. I'm your host, Sanya Sharma, and you're listening to episode 23. Now, we're still quite new, so please make sure to follow, subscribe, and share the podcast on your favorite audio video platforms and share your feedback with me. Welcome to yet another episode of this podcast. How have you all been? I was reflecting before starting to record this episode that wow, seasons have started changing. We are now moving into winter, and we also had snowfall recently in London, and that somehow made me put a poetic spin to the topic that we are discussing. That somehow psychological safety is also a bit like navigating seasons, isn't it? You start with finding yourself in the gloom of the winter, eventually navigating to a place that you feel okay, things are a bit summery for me now, and then having a rainfall, then navigating again through the autumn, finding yourself probably again in the winter. And I guess somehow you can also control it in many ways, how long the summer is going to last in your brain and how long the winter is going to last. And that is one way of saying psychological safety. There is some degree of control that you can exercise in trying to maintain it and of making sure that you try and remain in a summary state of mind, which is cheerful and happy. Maybe summary sometimes can be too hot in the brain, so maybe spring is the right state to be in. Anyway, the short point being that psychological safety is something that requires daily work and continuous effort to make sure that you are more or less operating in the spring and summer, not slipping into the winter, autumn, or the gloom of the rainfall. Now, the other thing is that is super important when discussing psychological safety is real life examples and situations that challenge our psychological safety to the maximum. So I thought I'll discuss that in today's episode. And the one situation that I think impacts a lot of people and impacts people very negatively is being on the receiving end of rumor has it. Yes, gossip. Gossip is such an all-pervasive phenomena, right? Like in any society, in any organization, anywhere you go, any culture, one thing that you'll always say is gossip. People just love gossiping. If you ask people, try to criticize gossip, people will tell you you're being quite unrealistic because that's just not possible. If human beings gather together, they're always going to talk about someone else. They're always going to talk about something. And I think to some degree that's correct. We are social beings, so we want to make sure that we are always exchanging information. But exchanging information is a matter of fact versus exchanging opinions that may or may not be true, and that opinions that are purported to be a matter of fact, that's different. Or exchanging assumptions on a wide scale, uh, to an extent that those assumptions start taking the form of purported reality. I think those are the situations that are dangerous, because now we are talking not about harmless gossip, which is in fact known to be good because it promotes pro social behavior. But now we are talking about malicious gossip and malicious rumors. And nobody should have to go through a situation in their life where all of their hard work and all of the effort that they have put in gets washed away because of false assumptions and false facts and false opinions being circulated or like mass circulated or being exchanged with no justification or no solid reasoning supporting any of it. So, yes, nobody should go through that because that's just absolutely unfair. And I specifically feel quite strongly when young women or young girls are on the receiving end of this phenomena, because that's anyway a very vulnerable age for young people. And it's not just women. I just feel women are always more disproportionately impacted. I think if you subscribe to a gender that has a certain differentiating factor, and it could be anything, maybe you are differently abled, or you subscribe to, or you're having a different gender identity. If you a person like you is on the receiving end of a malicious gossip or rumors, then the effect is likely to be double triple than the effect it's likely going to have on someone that forms a majority in the society anyway. So Now that we know this happens and we know that there are people who are on the receiving end and we know that it impacts people quite badly, what can we do and how can we go about maintaining psychological safety? There are a few examples that I want to discuss that may found useful, but I'm always open to know what you think and if you have navigated a situation like that. I think so. My views will be a bit different than what you read online, but that's because it's based on practical experience to a very large extent. So, one thing that you will read and many people will suggest is just don't pay attention to any gossip. I think, in a way, that's correct because the purpose of gossip is to distract you. So, if you are constantly thinking about what facts are being circulated about me and how do I prove them wrong, then that's a waste of your energy because you could be channeling all that energy towards in work that is going to lead you towards your goals. So, yes, there is some merit in the advice that just ignore the gossip and keep your head down and do your thing, which many people will tell you. But there are circumstances where I think that advice does not help and it should not be the only thing that you do. And you should take a call about that based on what is the nature of the gossip and why do you think the gossip is being circulated. Sometimes people say things in passing which are just harmless. But if facts have been or if opinion has been circulated as facts and that is impacting you in your social opportunities, professional opportunities, personal opportunities, then that's something that you cannot ignore and you can't just keep your head down about it. So, A, you need to first understand what is out there, what information has been circulated about you which is untrue, and that is the most challenging thing for any person to find out because usually this information may be circulated in circles that you don't have ready access to. Or it may be like a hush hush affair, and people may not want to tell you what exactly has been circulated about you. And that's how the power is taken away from you, right? The facts about you will go in first. And by the time it comes to your knowledge, it has already been amplified and circulated and has become like the gospel. And now you need to put in like double the effort to even find out what it is. What really helps there is having a trusted network of people and friends who you can trust and rely upon, who know you closely and who know that, okay, you are on the receiving end of some harmful gossip that has been circulated about you that's not true, and who will give you a heads up that, this is being said about you so that you can A, nip it in the bud by finding out who is the person who's circulating these things about you. Confront them directly and say, I have heard you've been saying unpleasant things about me. Could you please clarify why you've gone around saying that? Or why didn't you think about discussing this with me in the first instance? And usually, someone who's spreading a gossip does not expect you to come and speak to them directly. They will be taken aback, and it is very likely that they will stop spreading the rumors that they have been because nobody wants to go through the social embarrassment of being called out for having started a gossip that they have no evidence to back. So that's one thing that can be done. Or the other thing, when you realize that it's very difficult for you to chase the person because there's not one, there's not two, but there's like quite a few people involved in it, and it's going to be a waste of your effort to try and reach out to these people, you need to rely on your trusted sources and your trusted friends. First, need to safeguard that circle. So, the way you do that is you reach out to them. This is one suggested approach, saying, so I've heard some malicious rumors have been spread about me. Try and gauge why that might be happening. If you think it's because they wanted some, if it could be because, I don't know, you've spoken up or you feel that it's kind of a warfare to take away the opportunities that you feel should be coming your way. So just be as polite as you can about it and confide in your close circle that I think some negative rumors have been spread about me, and this could be the reason. I'm afraid that my friends are going to fall prey to it and are probably going to be manipulated. So, if you hear anything unpleasant, please make sure you clarify with me because I really value the relationship. That's one way of making your friends aware that, okay, something is out there in the public about you which is not true. So that when they hear it, they can let you know, oh, yes, actually, I have heard something like that about you. And people who know you well will not be swayed that easily. And as I said, they will let you know. And if you have people in your circle that get swayed very easily, my advice is to change your circle and find new people who are not going to be swayed so easily. And that way, being in a situation like this kind of helps you figure out who are in your corner and who are not, and who are the people you can trust and who you cannot trust. So you have to do your job of letting your close friends know that something like this might be happening. If you've heard something, please let me know. And if they've not, they'll tell you, and you just have to trust people. That's the other thing. Being on the receiving end of gossip or malicious rumors can make you feel very on the edge, and it's not psychological safe because you don't trust people, you don't know what they're saying, you don't know what they're saying behind your back, and you feel that constantly people are engaging in judging you and amplifying things about you that are not true, and it can feel very soul crushing because you know that none of this is true. But you've got to exercise some degree of trust in people, that people around me are rational creatures, and I've got to trust that they will be using their minds sensibly and that they will be looking at things analytically. And you've got to trust in the rational ability of that circle around you. If you're proven wrong, then you make a decision based on that. But the only way to maintain your grounding and to stay calm is to trust that I'm dealing with rational people around me, and then take a rational approach towards handling the situation that you're in. So now you've reached out to your friends, and you've kind of given them a heads up, and say you kind of figure out, okay, quite a lot is out there which is not true. It's also absolutely fine to then seek help from your circle, that this is a very challenging situation and I really don't know how to handle it. Could you make sure that you help me in whatever ways you can to dispel these gossip rumors that have been spread about me? And your friends can act as your spokesperson. And whenever they find themselves in the room, they can say to other people that, I'm sorry, I don't think that's correct because I saw her, she was there, or I saw them and they were doing this, and I know for a fact that they don't subscribe to so and so. Say, for instance, you're vegetarian, and now there's a rumor going around that, oh, she's not vegetarian, she's actually non vegetarian. And it's in a way harmless, but if it's being used to portray you as an inconsistent person, then that is not helpful, especially if it's being done in a setting where you anticipate getting opportunities, which can be professional, personal, or social, whatever. And you feel that if that is being used to take away your shot at a certain opportunity, then that's something you need to counter. And if you've confided in your friends can vouch for you that no, I know she is a vegetarian. I've known her for 12 years and I have never seen her eat meat, or I know she's vegetarian because of so and so reasons. So I don't think you're right. And when more people on your behalf start correcting other people, it creates a ripple effect where people become conscious that there are some facts that are true and some facts that are not true that are being circulated about you, and they start being more discerning in choosing what to believe and what not to believe about the information that is circulated about you. And that's one thing. The other thing is, when people get to know that something of the sort is circulating, they can also disassociate themselves, saying, okay, we don't know anything about it. It's not necessary to discuss this about this person when they're not in the room. So if you would you feel comfortable saying this to them on their face? And if the person says no, then you can be like, okay, then you shouldn't be saying this about them behind their back. And that is one way to in which your supporters can nip gossip. So, and I think these techniques are important because if you just sit there passively doing nothing, then you might just, whatever is being spoken about you might just, and people might just think that that's the truth, whereas it's actually not. And that's just unfortunate that humans can be very lazy. Sometimes you go to a party, you sit in a pub, and one sentence is dropped somewhere when people are having drinks, and you just carry that sentence with you, and you just assume that because most of the things um, happen this way, or like popular media has portrayed things to kind of match what you have heard, you're kind of likely to believe in what you have heard rather than exercising curiosity that a I have known this person and they've never actually acted in this way. So, is that really true? And B, what is the motivation of someone coming up to me and saying something negative about an ex person? why would they be doing it? So, say I'm close to a friend and I'm sitting with another friend, and this third person that I'm sitting with starts saying very negative things about this other friend that I'm close to. Now, I can either be swayed by what they're saying, like, oh, really, is that the case? Well, I was thinking about, organizing a group thingy, and I guess now that you have said this about them, I'm probably just going to stay away and like not really include them here. Or I could exercise curiosity in my own brain. Why is this person saying this to me about this person? What do they have to gain? Is this coming out of goodwill, or is this coming out of ill will, or is it coming out of a malicious nature, or is it just coming out of an insecurity that they have? Is it coming out of jealousy? Is it coming out of competitiveness? And that's the why question. Once I start questioning the why, I'm more likely to understand why someone is engaging in behavior. And if I feel that, oh, actually this information exchange doesn't serve me, it doesn't serve my friend, but it's only likely to serve the interest of this person, in which case I should protect myself from this person. Because if they are saying something negative about someone in front of me, they are more likely to do that in front of about me to other people as well. So these things, when we start questioning and when we start exercising a curiosity, we become better equipped in handling tricky situations like this. A, how should we respond? And B, how should we also go about responding to facts that we hear about our own friends? That what should we do to nip these things in the bud and to not encourage them, people to. One thing I think that you need to bear in mind is depending on the scale of the gossip, it can take some time before it is eventually dispelled or before more people realize that the things that are said about you is not true. And I think what can really help at that point is creating your own microphone or creating your own mega reach out voice, which the aim of which is just to be yourself and to put your story out, because gossip serves a function of taking away your power and your social and professional capital by using rumors to define you or certain traits attributed to you. You can either spend your energy in trying to shoot down every single word that has been said about you, and that is honestly a very exhausting affair to do, and many times not worth it, because you can't control other people and what they're going to say, and people are always going to say something about you, something or the other. The only thing you can do is to not be so affected by these words you hear about yourself that you just stop taking action that you need to take to propel yourself in the direction of your goals and ultimately where you want to go. Because if you stop doing that, then eventually you're going to give more power to the gossip and the rumor that has been circulating about you. So instead of thinking, oh, okay, I need to shoot down these words about me, you can be like, okay, some things have been said about me. I have done my bits of trying to reach out the person who I think is responsible and taking up the issue with them. If that's not possible, I've reached out to my trusted circle. I've let them know this has happened. I have a sense of what is being circulating about me, and I know how this is not true. I can sense where is this coming from, why someone would do it. I am now cautious in my dealings with this group or with this person, and I am more aware of how anything that I might do could be twisted to serve the cause of so and so story that has been circulating about me. But what is in my control is just to get up and do things that define me. And maybe what I just need to do is make myself a little more visible to people. So, say there's a rumor going about you that you are non vegetarian, whereas you are vegetarian. Maybe just post pictures of your vegetarian food more often so that people see, oh, yeah, she's just been eating vegetarian food and she's not non vegetarian. That's the only thing you can do. And don't do it with the aim of, oh my god, I'm going to prove everyone I'm this. Just do it. Yeah, I'm going in the picture. There you go. And that's it. If you think it's one of those important things, because your job is not to prove to anyone who you are, what you stand for. That's just not something that's worth engaging in. But At the same time, you cannot let careless words take away your hard work, and you cannot let careless words take away everything that you have worked for. And if careless words are going to become the reason why you might have to take a step back on things that you shouldn't be, then I think you are under every right to take a more proactive approach of putting forward your story, putting forward your experience, defining yourself, defining your values, and at least putting your case forward so that then whoever is deciding has all the facts in front of them. Um, and you have done your bit in dispelling the rumor that's there. And it is also not wrong to forget that in extreme cases where there has been damage, quantifiable damage, you have legal recourse against perpetrators. You can sue them for defamation. You can sue people for and I think defamation is a very important right. This is very important, or libel, or like slander as well. And these are important rights that you have to protect yourself, both your freedom of speech and to curtail others' freedom of speech and expression when they have bordered or they have breached your fundamental rights. And it doesn't kill to be conscious of that, and it doesn't kill to be aware of where you can exercise these rights, because knowing that there is a law that's there to protect you can be very powerful. And for others to know that the law is watching over them is also super powerful. So don't forget that. And that should give some respite to you in terms of your psychological safety, that I'm not completely out on my own. There is something called the rule of law that's protecting me and that's protecting a lot of other people in similar situations. And of course, journaling, writing down your thoughts on a daily basis, what is annoying you about a certain situation, making sure you surround yourself with people who know you, who trust you, and who you can trust, who are not going to be swayed and are going to give you um, reality check, both in terms of your expectations, your circle, and are going to help you navigate the situation, is are all very important coping tools that you can use if you're looking to maintain psychological safety at a time like this. Well, having said that, it's now time to read the extract for today. And we're still reading the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And today I'm reading an extract from his chapter Start With Why, but Know How. And this is page number 148 under the subsection which is called build a megaphone that works. I referred to the concept of megaphone, and it's because I read this chapter. So this says, for a message to have real impact, to affect behavior and seed loyalty, it needs more than publicity. It needs to publicize some higher purpose, cause, or belief to which those with similar values and beliefs can relate. Only then can the message create any lasting mass market success. For a stunt to appeal to the left side of the curve of the law of diffusion, why the stunt is being performed beyond the desire to generate press must be clear. Though there may be short term benefits without clarity, loud is nothing more than excessive volume, or in a business vernacular, clutter. And companies wonder why differentiation is such a challenge these days. Have you heard the volume coming from some of them? In contrast, what would have been the impact of Dr. King's speech had he not had a microphone and loudspeakers? His vision would have been no less clear. His words would have been no less inspiring. He knew what he believed and he spoke with passion and charisma about that belief. But only the few people with front row seats would have been inspired by those words. A leader with a cause, whether it be an individual or an organization, must have a megaphone through which to deliver his message. And it must be clear and loud to work. Clarity of purpose, cause, or belief is important, but it is equally important that people hear you. For a why to have the power to move people, it must not only be clear, it must be amplified to reach enough people to tip the scale. It's no coincidence that the three-dimensional golden circle is a cone. It is, in practice, a megaphone. An organization effectively becomes the vessel through which a person with a clear purpose, cause, or belief can speak to the outside world. But for a megaphone to work, clarity must come first. Without a clear message, what will you amplify? So I guess if you find yourself in a situation like this, it's important to clarify what is the purpose of these rumors. Is there a clear message in the rumors? And if you have a clear message, it's important for you to build your own clear message about yourself and then start delivering that message. It can be through your megaphone, could be your action, it could be a gathering, it could be your words, it could be anything. You have to decide what is going to be the loudest form of expression of your message. But the things to bear in mind here, that loud is not always impact. Something may be loud, but it may not be impactful because it's not clear or it serves no purpose. Whereas something that is not loud but is impactful, has the potential to become loud, that is worth investing in, and that is something that you can build on. The crucial thing in both these cases is being clear as to why we are doing something. And any situation of dealing with these gossip is an opportunity to clarify your why and your message as to why my message holds value and not them, because it is a chance for you to become in tune with your own value system more than you've been ever before. So on that note, I'm going to end today's episode. Let me know what you think about it. And as I said, if you have any personal experience of being in a situation like this and you want to talk about it, please let me know. I would love to hear how you navigated it, a situation like this. And if there are any learning points that you can share with the rest of the world. Until then, have a lovely week and I will see you next